Welcome to another series of the Elevate podcast, season 2. And today, as your host, Kath, I welcome Steve Tarr, our chairman and founder of Mdina Partners. And today it's nice, Steve, because we have you on the other side of our podcast in a very nice setup. So today we're talking about leadership and legacy, which is, I would say, a topic you were quite fond of.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So Steve, today you're on our podcast in the competence of a successful semi-retiree. And I was excited to be inviting you over today because I've obviously observed the journey into your retirement, and I feel like this was very well managed, very well organized, and I feel there's a lot to say. So if we start from there, as a successful semi-retiree, how would you say, what led to this journey?
Okay. I mean, first of all, I think it's important for people to really understand that I loved probably 99%, if not 99.5% of my working life. Absolutely loved it. So really enjoyed my journey through my whole career and working. And therefore, as I sort of edged towards the age of 65, started to think that, okay, I need to be planning in some way. I mean, what should I be doing to get ready for retirement?
Okay.
Now, I'm very lucky that I had shares in my own company, and therefore I could almost sort of dictate when that was. So it wasn't about anything other than how I was feeling, if you like.
Yeah.
I had a very large contract, which meant that I was traveling a lot and away from home a lot.
Okay.
And after doing many, many years of that, I started to feel a bit more tired, if you like.
Okay.
And then COVID came. So you hear lots of people say this, but there is some good that comes out of bad things. And
Absolutely.
COVID therefore enabled me to experience working from home, experience not traveling,
Wow.
which was the first time I hadn't traveled. Remember, I was traveling probably 2 or 3 times a week, So not traveling, not being away from home, and being able to work from home. So being at home a lot, which I'd never experienced either. And I thought, actually, this is okay. This is not going to be such a bad thing after all. And I think it was during that time I then made the decision that I will step back from anything that is going to cause me to travel or be away from home a lot. And that's, in my world, that was semi-retirement, if you like. So I planned that, and then that happened in 2022. In April the 1st was my first day in semi-retirement.
Excellent. And so if you ask our team, I think one thing that is very much observed is how happy you look now. And not that you weren't happy before, because definitely you had it together. You said, you do things you enjoy. But there's a certain piece to where you're at now. And my curiosity is, what were the successful contributors to getting you to, let go slowly and successfully?
Okay, I mean, I think, again, everybody knows their own body very well. And I just knew that I was feeling tired. Now I was healthy, I'm very fit for my age, whatever age I've been, if you like.
You can walk more kilometers than anyone else in the team.
But still, I started to feel the energy levels not be as high as they were. Therefore, the appetite and the excitement for travelling and being away and working with people in different countries. I've been blessed to have sort of worked in 32 countries in my career, And when I felt those energy levels dropping, that was the trigger point, as I said. And then I think once I'd got my head around the fact that this is going to happen, so I'm going to stop. And when I say stop from what? I think it's the schedule. a schedule where literally from waking up to going to bed, you've got a schedule booked, working to very, deadlines and etc. Whilst I was a very good time manager, that nevertheless was a full-on schedule. Yeah. So I was looking forward to and that's what, when I did retire, I think not having that schedule as tight as it was a relief, I think. And I could walk and exercise more.
Yeah.
I had time to think about many aspects of things that I never had time to think about before.
Yeah, and follow your sports a lot more.
Yeah. I mean, doing the things you enjoy doing. Yeah, I mean, I was somebody who I didn't have hobbies of golf or fishing or, because I speak to people who were my age and they were looking forward to retiring so they could go and play golf every day or go fishing every day. That wasn't the case in my case. And it wasn't that I was looking forward to stopping work either. I just wanted to do less.
Yeah.
And that's what I've achieved. So I'm actually at a point where I'm doing exactly what I want to do, working with the people I want to work with. My happiness level, which is crucial for people to reach, is very high.
Excellent. And so you prepared for retirement, which we don't hear people do very often. How long and what was really important in that journey?
Okay, so I think the real proper planning for me was about a year.
Okay.
So I would advise anybody not to be less than that, so longer is okay as well. Number one. Number two is to get the attitude right.
Okay.
So this attitude, by that I mean that retirement does not mean your life is coming to an end,
No.
and you have now no value to give anybody. Retirement actually means it's the word which normally indicates that somebody's going to stop working for somebody in their normal job.
Yeah.
That's just an end of a chapter. That's what I mean by attitude. And I was then starting to think about what that next chapter, the new chapter in my life looks like. Now, again, I'm very lucky that I could carry on working with some of the clients I still work with and have worked with for a long time, as I chair their boards, etc., or sit on their boards in a couple of cases, but not to the intensity or the level that it was. So, in other words, I'm in control of. Yeah. I have a joke saying with my family that zero stress is the, and I really mean that. It's impossible to achieve all the time, but that's why my goal is to try and make sure I'm not involved or doing things that are causing me stress.
Okay. And so in going into this semi-retirement, was there anything you were worried about?
Yes, I think I was worried that I wasn't going to feel valued.
Okay.
I was and I was, I think, concerned as to how I was going to use what you perceive to be as all this spare time. But actually, I fill that time with exercise, relaxing properly, and doing things that I love to do. So suddenly, actually, then the time still flies by 100 miles an hour, but flies by in a very low, stressful way. Yeah.
Okay. And so on that note, what were the pleasant surprises about being semi-retired?
Well, shocked really I was that from it becoming quite public knowledge that I was semi-retiring, opportunities came in by many of them.
To be busier.
Correct. And that was the first test, if you like, where I had to be self-disciplined, because I could have so easily just stopped with one client that was taking me so many days and fill it a bit more with other, and I didn't want to do that. One, and two, again, I could be very selective who I work with and who what I do, in other words, and what I don't want to do. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I was very pleasantly surprised at the number of those opportunities. And I was very pleasantly surprised with myself. So a lot of looking in the mirror and actually congratulating myself on how I managed this process, really.
Excellent.
Very proud of the way I've done it.
And if I have to probably pass a comment from the outside, it's the same Steve Tarr, just in a different form, you know. So it really is.
Yes.
It is a new chapter.
Yeah.
It puts you into a position of you can be more of a mentor because you are more available, probably for the people in your business.
Yes.
At times.
Yeah.
So yeah, excellent. Okay, and so we've observed the journey into your retirement. What advice would you be giving to the colleagues of people retiring, you know, and how to do that well, how to manage that well, how to support that individual through, you know, what you've called yourself, the change curve is there. It's still a change.
Well, and we talk of denial and resistance, exploration, commitment. I think the first thing is for people to really test their empathy skills, to make sure that they empathize with the person that's retiring. That, again, it's not that the life is coming to an end, and you know, that's number one. And number two is to, especially if you work with somebody for a large number of years, you've got on very well with them, you had a great working relationship. It's a bit like in bereavement. You know, the time when the person who's bereaved wants contact is not actually the first or second week. It's actually in about 5 to 6 months' time. And I think that's the same with people retiring, that they don't want somebody to sort of meet them for a beer or a coffee in the first week or month. It's 6 months down the road.
When it's silent.
Or even a year down the road, where they've started to experience what their new chapter's like. And the ones that haven't planned it very well could be feeling quite low and quite just needing a boost.
Yes. And I think that has a lot of value. It makes sense because it's true. You've sat next to someone for so many years and then they can't just become nobody. But I would say the routine of the world we live in sometimes allows that to happen. So it's a good note for sure. Okay, so now maybe another big one, I would say. Not easy to step away from big contracts, yes, but doable in a sense. But you also didn't step away, but stepped sideways or let someone else take your baby away in a sense. You know, Mdina Partners is something you built on your own initially over 40 years ago, and now your role has transformed. Still active, but not as active, and not taking the bigger decisions on your own. What was that like?
I think that was the biggest decision for me. A very conscious decision because what I never wanted to be, and I think Alex and Morgan, my co-directors, would confirm this. I've always said to them, I don't want to be this old guy that's either slowing things down, slowing change down, although I'm a big change advocate. No, but I was very conscious that having witnessed people in the past that sort of hanging on, you know, and they hang on to their business without passing it down properly. So I made the decision that when I then went into semi-retirement, I would also consciously pull back from the day-to-day running of Mdina Partners and the other companies in the group. And it was very difficult, extremely difficult. And at times I had to sort of correct myself. But I was also very lucky that Alex and Morgan made that process very, very, very easy. You know,
okay, so choosing the right partners, letting go slowly.
They would flag up to me in a very nice, kind way if this is something that I shouldn't be getting involved in, and you know, don't even ask about it.
Okay.
But I think if you ask them, they'd also say that I've let them.
You've given them the space as well.
I've given them the space. Yeah.
Excellent. Okay, super. And so, in this new chapter, what are the habits that really contribute to you being active, to you remaining resilient, to you remaining active even from a brain point of view?
So, number one, passionate about exercise.
Okay. So there's a sense of routine.
Yeah, well, absolutely. That's very important, yes. So I still, I wake up at an early hour of the morning, which I've always done. I exercise by going for a nice long walk. On that walk, I can do many things. Either just walk, or I can listen to music, or I can listen to a podcast. Then I think very actively I plan and schedule any of the work commitments. So these would be board meetings, which I have 5 or 6 of those every month. The rest of the time then is me actually planning the days as to how I would like them to be. But what I still have is a plan.
Okay.
What I don't do is just arrive home from
and
my
wait
walk
for time to
and sort of sit or have a shower and then sit and think, right, now what shall we do?
So
that's not what I do. But, now for some people that may work, but for me it doesn't. I need to try and have a plan of what I'm doing. Whatever errands that is, or whatever it is, or doing some work with a charity, I need to know that I'm going to be doing that tomorrow or in 2 days' time.
Okay. So it really is about reframing your meaning, and this is the beauty of this chapter.
And reframing my schedule that I told you I was trying to reduce.
To walk away from.
But I'm doing it in a very much more lighter way.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I haven't gone from somebody's very well organised time-wise schedule to completely
zero.
Nothing, because I think that those huge changes is not what is not good for people.
Yeah, to me it sounds like the zero stress is linked to having control of where you're spending your time, rather than fiddling your thumbs as the time passes.
How you spend your time and who you spend it with.
Absolutely. Okay, so thinking of your peers who might be coming up to retirement or semi-retirement, what would your advice to them be?
Definitely to plan and talk to the relevant people about it.
Okay.
As early as you can.
As possible. Okay.
So.
Because I think
funny
sometimes
enough, I was at a function this week where I was talking to people who have 3 years to retire, another one 2 years.
Okay.
And they had not spoken to anybody yet. They are waiting for their employer to talk to them about it.
Okay.
And
that's
most employers will
just,
only talk to somebody probably 6 months before retirement.
Yeah.
Okay. So, but that doesn't mean the employers haven't thought about it. So I think it's up to the individual to
be brave,
have that discussion, to talk about succession for the company as well.
Absolutely.
Plus, and who needs to be trained or passed things over to. 1 and 2 for it to be a very open and transparent conversation, because most people will get more help than they realise.
Absolutely.
Super. And they need to talk, not, as I say, and not feel it's coming to an end. Just be excited about the new journey.
Absolutely. Perfect. Okay. So I think bringing this all together, just a bit of a random question, but if you have to think of, leadership advice of all the, the sessions you've given, of all the people you've taught, of all the people you've mentored, one simple piece of leadership advice you would definitely give, for you to be remembered for, in a sense.
Yes, I think the one that I have lived by, and I hope anybody that's been involved in working with me in various capacities would say that I also lived this, is to actually just treat everybody in your team as you wish to be treated. So, if there are things to be said, I think we all want to make sure that somebody tells us, how we say it and those sorts of things. And this is really all about how we get the best out of people, is to, I think, treat them as you wish to be treated. And I see, sadly, still examples of people treating their teams and their people who work with them in a way that they do not like to be treated. In fact, almost contradictory. So that would be that's the golden nugget for me, that one.
Absolutely. And it's good stuff. Thank you for sharing that, Steve, because
Okay.
I mean, I can definitely from my position confirm that I'm being treated well. Steve, thank you very much for joining today. I think observing the journey, you know, it's nice to be able to talk about something that I've seen in real life and has been effective. It's been a pleasure for us to have you in a new role as a mentor, as a business. And thank you for leaving your legacy with us.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
And thank you, listeners, for joining us for another episode of the Elevate podcast. We'll see you next time.